Steiner here with another episode of Secondhand Talent. Real quick, want to give a shout out to Tenacious Toys for the lovely eye candy and to let you all know that we have some merch available, pins and patches at secondhandtalent.com. And oh, by the way, we also have with us our very first repeat guest featured from season one, episode two, our very first interview. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Danny Biggins. So happy to have you back on, bud.
Oh,
So happy to have you back on.
please. Mr. Danny Biggins is my father.
Then I have made a terrible mistake. How you been, man? What's new? What's new?
Great
Well, I
to be
mean,
back,
it's a
Steiner.
general question, I guess, what's
I
new, but
no, I know, right? I mean, I don't know. It's so many things. So much happens in a year or several months or a week or a day. I don't know. I can't easily,
so
never easily
let's
answer a question. So,
let's go along the timeline. When we did our interview, our initial interview, that aired April 12th, 2023. At the time of this airing, we're approximately 1 year after that. So I would imagine that, within that year, there's got to be some tales to tell. And I figure, you know, since we're here, since we're going along, a timeline with the show, I thought it would be really fun to go along the timeline with you and really hear about, kind of what's actually been happening from a progression perspective in your career since we last spoke, Um, I, as we all grow, we all continue to do new things. And I personally know that you've been working on a lot of new things and have started some new stuff. And love to hear just all about it. I mean, let's talk about spring last year.
yeah, I think, well, the main bullet points that have happened is I've largely stepped away from teaching music, and I still have a couple students that I teach privately now. But I mean, after 13 years of done, I just got a little bit of burnout from doing that,
Mm.
and so I just needed a break. I mean, that's what I realized about life too. It's like even if it's something you love, you got to find new ways to motivate yourself on the daily and keep it fresh. And I think that's just part of being human.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and
And
then so that was one of the main things. I forget if on that last interview if I had mentioned that I was getting into running sound, but I now run sound at three venues in Chicago, Bourbon on Division and The Points, which is same crew, same management, their sister venues, if you will, in the Wicker Park area.
and I can confirm the sound at Bourbon on Division sounds great. Can't speak for the other two, haven't been
It's
there, but no, no point. I was at the point for one of your shows.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that was with Bootleg Contraband. That was the
Oh right, yeah,
that was that
exactly.
was that was that that was an awesome show.
Shout out, what up, Casey?
Shout out Kason and the Chila. What up, y'all?
Yeah.
Um, and shout out Sarah too.
Oh yes, of course, real shout out.
Real shout outs.
No, yeah, the sound at the point, they have function one, so like really nice sound system. But
So
as long as you got me behind the board, it sounds pro.
I was gonna say the system is only as good as the guy who's running it, right? So,
No, it's been a really cool experience, and it's like a puzzle basically. And so when it comes together, it's really sweet. And
mm,
I joke about the ripple effects of a good mix alive, just like everyone, like I said, everyone enjoys themselves more. Literally everyone in the venue, the band as well.
yep.
The the patrons will stay longer. They'll order more drinks. They'll laugh and love more, and at the end of the night, probably have more sex too. So it's like it's
It's a win. Go to a concert tonight if you can at Bourbon on Division. You'll have sex.
and so yeah, I mean, if there's a baby boom like 9 months after one of the shows I mixed, I mean, uh,
Most popular baby name in 2025 is gonna be Danny.
no, well, it's already one of the most popular names.
No,
It's like
it's sorry. That's gonna be his.
zombie,
Yeah, zombie. Yes, that.
zombie.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm trying to think anything else with running sound that's been fun. Oh, simply, the long time that I've played music and written music in the scene, this has been an additional way, like all the bands that come through. such a simple way to network. And it's like this last year,
Yes,
like I
that's a great point.
because and then also the
Yes.
artists are like relieved in a way too, or they're like while we're setting up, I'll just like mention like my
Mm.
Zombie Manana. I'll mention that and like what I do really quick, and excuse me, automatically we're like relating on an additional level then.
Right,
So
because they're relating to you not just as like, oh, you're the front of house guy. It's like, oh, we're artists. We're
yeah,
not saying that anybody looks down on, anybody else, but it's like a different level of recognition and conversation that you're able to have once you both understand that you know what each other are talking about.
exactly. So yeah, relating to the performance experience and all that good stuff. So I was with the turn of the year that just happened at the time of
At
this
the time of this
recording.
recording, yes, I have to say that a lot.
Yes,
I've
yeah, right.
yeah.
So yeah, we're still in January right now. But
Shh, don't tell them.
oh,
We're not supposed to let them know we're in Eugene, Oregon either.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Fuck, I did that.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Um, uh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, as I was reflecting at the turn of the year, I was like, wow, this was actually one of the best years that I ever had for networking.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say because of
And
secondhand talent. I was
oh yeah,
like,
and because of this guy right here.
I put him on.
But between Bourbon and the Points, there's a lot of electronic acts, jam bands come through, and like hip hop acts as well, and then the metal show as well. And actually, Bourbon on Division is kind of I mean, we bring in all these different genres and everything, but there actually is a metal emphasis there at
Really?
Bourbon. Yeah.
I
Uh,
didn't know that.
yeah, upstairs not so much, but yeah, like downstairs they're like often playing metal and everything, and
Hmm.
a lot of the my coworkers there are big metalheads.
So yeah, no, no, that I get that.
And
Yep.
then I've got into metal even a little bit more as a result of that. But then uh mixing metal too. Like there was one um show a couple months ago. I'd say there's probably been like 4 or 5 metal shows that I mixed in. Uh I just like I could just see the scope of, what is being played at me, and then it's just like I mean through so many years of listening to music now I can just like hear. I mean, you just pay attention to what's happening at the moment. You're just trying to make it sound as clear as possible. If there's a solo, maybe give it a little boost if possible, or if this layer that came in, you just got to be attentive to it and then just ride the faders. And
Oh, sorry,
sorry,
go ahead.
no, no,
I was gonna say it's so interesting that you say that about metal,
yeah,
because I never got metal. Like I appreciate it obviously as a musical genre, but it was never something that drew me in. Um, then I met my buddy Vadim. Shout out Vadim. Shout out Structural. You guys rock. He's the drummer for this band called Structural, this metal band. And I went to go see them play a few times, and something clicked in my head where like all of a sudden I heard the melodies and I was like, "Oh, it's just like I just need to shift my perspective because it's the same notes, it's the same chords that are being played as any other genre of music. Like it's music. Like I just need to think about it not as metal, but as like just more music." And it kind of, I mean, I think it took like actually personally knowing somebody who's in a metal band to do it for me, but having that up close and personal experience of mixing the actual music, I'm sure gives you an added appreciation for genres that you may have not been so hip with before.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I generally have a very like open mind to music too, but yeah, I mean, the best thing is just to kind of just like stay present with it and just, just kind of one kind of like take down like kind of like forget your tastes and just like that's the thing with performance art, whether it's music or something else. It's just like there almost is a level of objectivity with a good performance. You can make a believer out of anyone. It's just like,
Mm.
damn, that person's fucking good. Like I love this. Like, and it's like this, and maybe it's if it's style of music you don't normally listen to, you'll still really enjoy it because like that's how captivating their talent is, their skill that they've built.
I actually have a great example of that. At Sacred Rose, on Sunday before it got rained out, I saw Kitchen Dwellers play. It was my first time ever seeing them play. And for the first time in my life,
A bluegrass band, right?
a bluegrass
Yes.
band, yeah, and I don't typically listen to bluegrass. Something about it caught me, and I went up to go watch them play, and I was just stuck. at the front of the stage. And for the first time in my life, and being a lifelong music fan, I saw a band play live for the very first time, and I didn't know any of their music, and went and bought their record the next day. I was hooked
Yeah.
immediately. And that willingness to just be like, let me hear this before I before I just say like, oh, I don't like that. You know what I mean? Now, of course, everybody has their own personal exceptions and all that. There's certain you're allowed to not like things, but from the perspective where you sit, you know, correct me again, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you just have this pure love of music, and that I think overrides any genre. Like that's transcendental of like what type of music is being played.
Yeah.
So,
No, definitely. I think I don't know. It's like it's facilitating the artistic vision, I guess, and just amplifying it basically. Well, literally. But
oh yeah, yeah. Actually, a good use of the word low bones.
I
Good.
yeah. But it's got plenty of where that came from,
No
so
edits.
yeah, buckle up, fam.
hmm
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's cool to think of, and I'm sure I said that I can't remember everything that I said in the first interview or whatever, but I always talk about like viewing music as just like aural paintings, sound paintings.
Mm,
So it's kind of cool to think of notice how like the textures are hitting you, the layers and everything, and just like how would this look as a visual painting? And so it's like
hmm.
and then if you you know
I can I
attribute that to different genres or even particular songs that the band is playing song to song, and even more refined section to section within
mhm.
that song too. It's just like kind of think of like the textures that are happening. How is it flowing? And it's like maybe that's I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just an
I,
obsessed music listener and fan. So that's
that's a really cool take. I don't think I've ever heard that take before. And I mean, like the way I hear what you're saying, be like immediately in my mind, I was like, okay, girl talk is a collage.
mhm.
Like I would sit like Humphreys McGee is mixed media. You know, it's like I can see like that visualize in my head. I think that's a really apt metaphor. It's an apt allusion to what to describing that kind of intangible feeling of being in the moment, making that music happen. And also one other thing that you said about how kind of what you do is not as noticed, right? Um, Something we've said on the show from the beginning is that one kind of weirdly unique thing about secondhand talent is that if we're doing our jobs well, you don't know we're there.
Yeah, that's a yeah.
And to hear from someone who's running sound at a bunch of different venues that like, no, I'm here. Like, and also I don't want you to forget it. Like, but I mean that's got to be motivation to do your best job for every show. I mean, like to be like, I want to be remembered as the guy at this venue who did that awesome show.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's like I mean, the validation is nice, but it's not even just to be like pat myself on the back. It's just like I'm just happy to uh make it better, I guess.
Mm,
Like so and no, it is it feels great when people are really enjoying themselves. Uh yeah, it's just like almost every single night someone's coming up to me and someone said recently just something like you're crushing it, man. I mean, it's so loud, but it's so crisp and clear.
mm.
It's perfect. It's just like and so uh I mean, yeah, maybe the dude was a little bit inebriated, but just like
You
he
know,
was like having a blast. He's like, it sounds amazing in here. And it's like that's like yes.
I tell people all the time, when you're out at a show, like say what's up, say thanks to the sound guy, say thanks to the people to the people who are working at the venue, working at the show, because you know they don't often get that appreciation, and you really never know how much something as simple as like a smile or hey or this sounds great or you're doing a great job it could go a really long way, and it could really impact that person. And it doesn't cost you anything, just like liking and subscribing our channel. But it is something that you can do everywhere you go that is free, that just that little bit of gratitude goes such a long way.
Definitely.
I mean, the fact that out of all these shows, you remember the night that the one person came up to you and said, "Hey, this sounds great," and you give details about it, like, I think is a testament to the fact that how important it is, and
Definitely.
yeah, it's nice to feel appreciated when you dedicate so much of your time and energy and life towards something,
Yeah.
to get that pat on the back once in a while and have someone say, "Yeah, yeah, you are doing a fucking good job."
Yeah.
Like, it's great, man. Like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So then, that's the sound guy portion of it. You should put those little
Yeah, we do like cut card and then
yeah, the
we yeah.
chapter, and then we'll label it. So
Little while later.
yeah.
So working at Bourbon on Division and the Point, and um, you've clearly gained a lot of experience, and I'm sure that's brought with it some knowledge that you've brought back to the studio. And if our dear listeners and viewers would recall, one of the secondhand talent aspects that Danny embodies is that he produces all of his own music. And so first, I guess my first question before we get into what are you working on now is, has that experience working at Bourbon and Division and the Point, like a running sound, has that translated to learning new skills like in mastering your own music? Or is it or is it a completely like just different kind of like like genuine question.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think well, I mean, sometimes you pick up like little like tips, or you see a cool instruments, or maybe like an effect, and you just talk about that with one of the artists that like mixing live or something like that. And but then also I think just like over time, like I mean, just like any craft, if like you keep on working at it, like you're gonna build skill and gain new perspective. And so then yeah, I think the fact of seeing all these shows that I mean, I generally enjoy all of them, like even if it's not exactly, my favorite music or something like that. But
they're there for the experience. It's
yeah,
music. It's music and game recognized game. Like even if you
exactly.
don't like the music, you're a musician. You can respect the craft. Like
Definitely.
yeah.
So even in spite of that, I feel like just being at more of these shows that maybe I wouldn't normally attend all
Mm,
of them, just being immersed in that in and of itself is, caters to it. Just like just listening to and being a part of the show experience for all these people that I'm meeting. So I think in that way, that's what mainly helps too. And so, or I mean, yeah, any good musicianship, or even beyond music, like anyone, kind of what goes along with what I said a little bit earlier with performance. Like
mm,
you could just tell when people are done the work and are pouring their heart into
yeah.
it, and just like
Yes.
have their
Yes.
yeah, there's like a level of objectivity where you're just like, damn, they're good.
Mm,
And so, yeah, I think that always plays into, being inspiring, just like, and then every time Sunday rolls around, which is my day at the studio here, uh, it's always like a inspiring experience that way.
mm.
And then that's fresh off of, unless I'm playing a show that weekend or something like that, it's, I mean, I'm like, running sound on Fridays and Saturdays, most of the time too. So then like going right into Sunday, then I especially feel like, in this musical happy spot, this sanctuary right
Like
here.
this
So
kind of
like
reinvigorated
fresh inspo.
game, fresh inspo. Got to have that inspo.
So then, and then yeah, with these new tracks, then well, I want to recap maybe just like some of the shows that I played first
Yes,
this last year.
that's because that's obviously we're talking about the year in review, and I know that there were a couple of fun ones that you
Bangers.
wanted to discuss. I mean, so let's talk about that from a performance perspective, especially with the added perspective of running sound for other people's shows and kind of feeling that synergy. Like,
Definitely. So yeah, for the time being, Zombie Manana has gone back to being a solo project again. Which is how I started the project. And Yeah, I mean, just it's hard to run a band, and especially like when you have good members and everything, most of the time they're, well, especially being in the mid 30s,
Mhm.
age-wise, like it's hard to coordinate schedules and it's a lot to keep it all together basically. And so it really is a blessing like anytime you can collaborate with artists, whatever it is. But then yeah, it's just kind of difficult to keep the band like right now. So I mean, I decided, roll solo with it again, and then so I spent yeah, oh well, I should say this then with the perspective of like bringing it back to playing along with my tracks, and then I sing and play guitar live, and then do live effects and some looping as well live on my tracks. So there's a good amount of improv with however I
Mm,
sing it or
sure.
any kind of effects that I have on the fly. Um, and transitions as well. Uh, but so then returning back to a solo project, I then had to go back and kind of reproduce my tracks that I had because then when I was with the band, I would leave the textures in that weren't uh, bass or drums. Obviously, would take those out, but then now I have to bring that all back in. So then
Mm,
I essentially had to go back and remix and modernize all my tracks, and also even old tracks too that weren't produced at the studio or that are already several years old. I kind of update them and bring them back to speed and make it all consistent. So then I I feel very fulfilled. Like the solo set is the best that it's ever been. So I think that yeah, having especially having the sound guy aspect with it too, just like uh that's how that influenced as well. So going back to my tracks, like, okay, we need this, like this needs a boost. What was I thinking back then?
mm.
Wow, this sounds like shit.
Yeah, I mean,
It sounds like the Saint Anger snare.
right, like,
Stanger.
I'm sure it gives you, like, a far more analytical perspective
Yeah.
on your own work after hearing so many different textures and sounds, seeing them as you refer to them as these portraits of sound.
No,
It really allows you to zoom in on your own artwork and really get down, like, to the exact dot what you're trying to reinvigorate, reincorporate, or reimagine, whatever the moment in the music calls for.
absolutely. And then so then it started with summer camp music festival. Like I played on shout out time, Corey Person, the Get Down. He had a stage at summer camp this year, and I played summer camp music festival several times with my former band, the Coop. And then yeah, so this year I it was like an unofficial sets, and then I asked him, and then it ended up being like a Sunday 11:30 slot or something like that. And so at first, like he and I were each hesitant because that was the only like time that he had. I was like, well, what am I gonna do? Say no? No, I'm definitely gonna play. I'm
It's carpe diem, man. So you gotta seize that, yeah.
exactly, and it ended up working so nicely because like if you know festivals, like we'll go very late, and so then
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Understatement of the century.
what sleep? I remember that. Uh,
Leaper, I hardly knew her.
yeah, and so then. So that's what I was unsure of, so going into it, I was like, okay, I don't know what my crowd will be like here, but with my songs and everything, like and the set list that I crafted, I like kind of like eased it in, like very kind of there's a peaceful track to start and just like it set the vibe and it's a beautiful day and there's a lot of people like hula hooping or chilling underneath the trees. So I had like a few hundred people, not immediately in front of the stage, but just kind of scattered around the forest area there. And so then uh by the end of the sets, just like there's so many people who came up and grabbed a sticker, so that ended up being a really amazing event, amazing play for me. And so then I didn't get any footage from that, so then I did a live stream like the week after playing the same set that I did. But then that was with Space Lee, who I mentioned earlier, my friend
Shout out
Space
Brandon.
Lee. Yo, Space Tree is his actual page, so you can at Space Tree. But yeah, he's an amazing visual artist, and so many times over the years he's helped enhance my sets with his visuals, and so we did a live stream, and so then that's on YouTube actually. Like if you, it's like Zombie Manana
We'll
into
definitely
space.
pop the link in the comments for sure,
Yeah,
or in the description. Yeah, yeah.
definitely. So that would be like a decent um viewing for if you're curious about the live sound of Zombie. So then I feel like those two things helped kind of set a trajectory for the rest of the summer. So
Mm.
then I also played another festival, Harvest Fest, in northwestern Indiana. So that was through Sam Baker, Glitch Gatsby, and Corey as well. Get down like they had me on for that, and I was like I closed out the nights. Well, actually, Corey played late night, but I was like the last build artist on that. So they gave me a fantastic slot, and that was really a beautiful set as well. And so then, no, it just felt so amazing to connect with the audience, which obviously that's what you go for with shows. But uh,
You know, to feel the connection is
exactly,
like it is obviously it's always what you go for, but like to actually like be like did that.
it's happening, and like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
it's
exactly.
palpable. And so then. Yeah, what was I gonna say with that?
So we had summer camp and then the
Yeah,
live
Harvest
stream,
Fest, and then
Harvest Fest.
yeah, and then I can't forget that I played two shows in Florida with my old drummer Dustin Borlak, dear friend of mine,
Shout out Dustin.
Dusty, fantastic dude and amazing musician and drummer.
The man
Uh,
has rhythm like no one. I mean, I gotta say, like he like the his percussive talents are out of this world.
for real, like
Yeah.
and his he's so fun to watch too. Aside from his skills, just like he'll mouth the words to the songs like and like amplify. I mean, he and I just had like such a vibe with how we play, and
Mm.
so I miss him. I miss you, Dusty. But no, that was he moved down to Florida like a couple years ago, and so he's doing great work down there with a couple of bands that he plays in, but also like doing sound healing and events and sound journeys that he does. Fantastic at didgeridoo and all of like his
Yes.
percussive instruments as well. He knows just how to flow that. So very meditative.
Him on a steel drum is so awesome.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Or that pan drum that
Yeah,
he
I was gonna say
plays.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pan drum. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Um,
uh
so how,
shout out to Zimbadeo.
so is it Dustin that brought you down to Florida or was
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
okay, got
So
it.
we played in like his area, like Fort Walton Beach, the
And
Panhandle
was that your
area,
first time playing down there?
Destin,
Uh,
Florida. Dustin and Destin.
Certainly a destination.
Yeah,
Uh,
Destination.
oh, better pun. He's punnier. I love it. Um, had you ever we don't do sound effects on this show. Um, how was it playing in, I mean, had you ever played Florida before? Was that,
Never played Florida before. I mean, it was beautiful. We laughed, we cried. Yeah. Oh, and then like yeah, I mean, just it was so hot too, so I'm just like as soon as I stopped playing, I'm just like we need to go to the beach yesterday. Like
yeah, I'm
so
surprised we're not playing at the beach right now. Like, what is it?
yeah.
What is this? Like, every Florida house should have a beach in the backyard. I feel like that's like
Yeah.
shit.
So so yeah, then there's two festival plays, Florida, and then like shows in between that. Then I remember like August and September, like there were a lot of private gigs that I did as well, and I remember there was a stretch there where it just all was just pouring in that I realized there was like a whole month where I literally did not have one day off between running sound and playing gigs
Hmm.
and everything. Like,
Wow.
but it was so enjoyable where like it was like it didn't feel like work. It's like
When you love what you do.
exactly
Mm-hmm.
exactly that whole adage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then we get to the good part. Think all that's kind of built up a little bit of a momentum to where I got this amazing show offer in November where I played at Chop Shop here in the city, a very sweet music venue.
Yeah, go if you're in local to the Chicago area, please go check it out. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to see a show.
Definitely. Great sound and great food there as well. But
Yes.
no, a very solid professional crew and operation
Yeah.
there. So
Mm-hmm. Never had a bad time there.
and so then I opened up for the group Leisure, which they're from New Zealand. I guess they pronounce it Leisure. I don't know if that's the accents. I should know these things, but like no, that they chances are you've heard some songs by them if you don't know them already. It's like they got like a chill, how would you say it? Like a chill, funky synth pop, or kind of
That's
like that.
exactly
So
how you say it.
yeah, are
Chill, funky synth pop.
those are
You
all
nailed it.
words, right?
Right.
Like
They all have meanings.
yeah, yeah. And so no, it was a sold out show already like when I got the offer, and so I've been to Chop Shop many times,
And
but
that's a relatively high capacity venue for like just like a, I mean,
it is.
in the
No,
city.
it's decent for sure. And I don't know what the official like capacity is or what, but like there was like around 700 people there, and so so yeah, that was one of the biggest crowds I've played for, and as Zombie Manana, that's the biggest crowd I've played for.
Wow, man.
And
It's got to feel great.
Oh, it felt so great. And and even for that, like knowing that it was sold out, I still had it in my mind. I know by this point not to have
Mm,
expectations going into a show, but otherwise just be prepared and pour my heart out
mm-hmm.
and stay in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, just being an opener and everything, I was like, okay, I don't know if people will pour in like right before the band or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
so I did not know what I was in for, but like already at the start of my set, there were already like a few hundred people there.
Oh,
And
wow.
then
Wow.
very quickly filled into the full crowd that was there. So it was, maybe I'll link up to like some photos or something like that.
Yeah, we can pop them on
And
the.
the show was recorded. Actually, still have to edit, like master the audio from that show. But so look out for that in the near future as well. I'll put that when that's ready. I'll put that up on SoundCloud and YouTube.
And
And
you can definitely find it on our social media channels when it comes out. We'll certainly be spreading it around as well.
yes, thank you.
Of
And
course.
so then to recap that show, I mean, it's just like a very just like emotional year for me, and just like I think also adjusting to playing solo again, and then just like the wrench that uh pandemic pandemic threw and everything the last couple of years, that like this last year kind of like felt like the most pre-pandemic times. So
Mm.
to have those plays this year and kind of like readjust and find myself again, and they have this amazing offer. Like I always like to throw some banter at the crowd, and some nights I'm like funnier than others, but
Mm.
like people were really latching on to just like they got my style and my
Oh, that's a great
goofiness
feeling.
and
That's a
everything.
great. There is
Yeah,
no better feeling than establishing that synergy with the crowd and like knowing that like y'all are moving on the same wavelength and everybody's vibing together and like that is just one of the best feelings ever
absolutely.
ever ever as a performer. I mean that I've experienced. Like, as a comedian, I can speak on, I can't speak on music, but that moment when you drop a punchline and it hits, like, it's worth every bad joke you've ever told. And also speaking from experience on that. But you know, I would trade one of those moments for all of the bad moments just to have that, because I, it's you can't put that in words what
Yeah,
that feels like. It's just yeah.
because aside from just like obviously when you're performing, you're trying to like do something for, if not a living, at least like be able to sustain or do it often, or
Mm,
like perhaps travel. Uh, there's that part of it. So obviously you want people to enjoy themselves, like, but then
sure.
it was this the way that I would put that indescribable feeling is like I could feel like, I mean, that was love in that room right there, and so I
Mm,
was so happy to provide that. So it's just beyond just like the music business aspect of it, and
mm.
just like it was like I was so happy and grateful and thankful to be able to provide that experience, and like
And the,
have that platform for people to take it in and connect with it so deeply. And no, it was truly beautiful. Like the crowd was just like so supportive of me and laughing with me, and
I mean, I was going to
it's
say the
yeah,
fact that the love was reciprocated
yeah,
is what makes it so incredible. Is that because you're the performer, they're the crowd, but when you become one, then it's just it's go time.
Yeah,
Like yeah.
definitely. So no, and then yeah, no, I was like nice and vulnerable too. It was like, you guys, I always try a couple of my songs, especially the heavier ones. I always like, I come up with like some dedications on the fly, and I often say something like, if you're going through it, the song's for you.
Mm,
And so then, yeah, no, I share that vulnerability. I was like, I've had a messed up year, and just like the fact that I'm here right now, this is no light thing for me, you guys. Like I've been around. I've been in Chicago in the scene for a long time. And I've played for crowds bigger than that in my former band, the Coop. But
mm.
that just meant so much to me, and I was like, guys, this is the highlight of my year right now. So thank you
Wow.
so much. And like
Wow.
the crowd just like erupted, and so it was truly beautiful. So that's what I have to say about that one. So
I mean, talk about a memory that'll last a lifetime.
yeah,
That's what like in that moment, what more could you possibly ask for? Like that's it. That's it.
yeah,
That is capital IT. That is it. That is the moment that we chase.
absolutely.
That is the sunset that we chase on Sundays.
Yes.
References.
So yeah, the final thought I have with Chop Shop Show is you said like what more can you ask for? And
Yeah.
I mean really nothing, but I impressed the promoter, I impressed the owner, and I impressed Leisure, the band from New Zealand. So bam, 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 and got a whole bunch of new fans. Uh, there were within the next couple days of that, there were 100 more listeners on my Spotify. So just from that show.
Dude,
So
that's significant,
yeah,
man. That's amazing.
yeah. Es-
That's great.
Especially when that happens from a show, not just like, when you're promoting a new single or something like
Right.
that.
It's
So
not
it
like
was like,
you're walking around like with a card and telling people, "Hey, listen to my album that's on Spotify." It's like what I would say with the Kitchen Dwellers,
yeah,
right? Like I heard it first time I had ever heard their music. It was that good that like I need to be listening to this regularly.
yeah,
That's awesome that there were people over 100 people at the
yeah,
show that felt that way about your music. That's incredible. I
definitely.
love that for you. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That it's wow.
Thanks, man. And
Thank
then,
you.
oh, and then again, I've already done, I think this is the third shout I said to Spacely, but he did visuals for me at that show too. So, especially solo artist again, that always just like helps so much, especially with just watching like one person versus like a whole band. So then, at Chop Shop, they have a huge LED wall just behind the stage right there. So it was a
Hmm.
very immersive, psychedelic, dreamy, sexy experience. And
Nice. Sounds tweet.
yeah.
Yeah,
So then
super tweet.
so yeah, I've had all that going for me and yeah, so then fast forward to well, I've had a batch of songs I've been working on, and so then it's been several months since I decided I'm going to do it this way. I have about 12 or 13 new songs, and rather than put the time in to record that entire album, I'm splitting it into two EPs. Which I mean, they ride the border of like they're short albums, like they're almost like full LP, if you will, length. But so yeah, I got 6 songs coming, and the goal is to have that finished, um, recording finished by the end of February, mix in March, and release in April at the turn of winter to spring is the goal. So
So right around the time you guys are watching this, you'll also be listening to Danny's new music.
yes, so and then so I got a single that is on February 9th. So it'll be a,
It was a while ago, but don't worry. Future or past me will let future you know. Whichever way that works, we'll make sure that present you knows that future things are happening in the past. I think I got that right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Time.
Yeah.
So then,
So single coming out February 9th.
yes, and so then, yeah. Is there anything else that I catching up with on all that? Well, I got to figure out my next play basically. But yeah, that's what I have in the moves right now for yeah, just focusing on finishing this new music, and then figuring out exactly how I want to promote it. I mean, each time I've tried some different things, like I've poured money into like getting someone helping with like publishing and helping getting it to blogs and whatever, like the services that they offer. But then yeah, just promoting on social media too, like putting up sponsored posts and but even if you're doing that, like whatever you're posting, whether it's the artwork or a little video clip or whatever, I mean, there's an art to these things. You just wants to like grab attention for people, everyone just scrolling down, just like how do you
How do you
appeal?
capture that in the moment instantaneously? Like what are you gonna do in the first 3 seconds that's gonna hold that person's attention? It's a difficult thing to master. You're right. It is. It's almost like a language of its own. I mean, you could call social media an instrument
Yeah,
in a certain sense. I mean, it's very, anybody can learn to play an instrument, right? Anybody can do, but to be good at it and to be proficient and to excel, it takes time and it takes dedication and it takes work. It takes practice.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it's no, yeah, it's not easy at all. But yeah, it is definitely it's a art form in and of itself for sure.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm figuring out right now with all that. Uh the don't have I have a couple ideas in my mind, but I don't have a title at the time of this
At the
interview.
time of taping, which again we have to remember to say sometimes,
And I will though by the time it's released. So
so once again,
wonder what it'll
past
be.
me will let present you know about future things or whatever. I
Yeah.
got it right the first time.
Yeah. So then I think that about covers it for what's gone on for me in the last year since the last interview, which yeah, I have the honor of being the first guest on
This is
Secondhand
our
Talent.
very first repeat guest, and
First guest and first repeat guest. So
it's quite a feat that will never be matched. It'll Nobody else will ever hold that title. Like it's a
gratitude for this dude right here.
and I, before we
Gratitude.
yes. Yes. No edits. Um I gotta say before we sign off here, it's incredibly special for me to have you back on the show. You did mention, and I have mentioned sometimes to our listeners, I did work with Danny's previous band, the Coop, back in the day, and you know, uh, to have Danny and Jake and Joe and Kason on for the 1 year anniversary of the podcast throughout this month, um, I really truly couldn't have asked for a better way for this to go down, and I'm just so grateful that we continue to stay in the same journey and be a part of each other's lives and part of each other's projects. And I'm excited to hear the EP. I'm excited to hear all the new music, and I'm excited to see the new live performances, man. I'm excited for everything that's coming up in 2024 at the
Definitely,
time of this
man.
taping.
Yeah. And no, yeah, no, thank you so much, man. It's wonderful to be friends like all this time and
Yeah, man.
what you've built with Secondhand Talents this last year too and like uh this man right here just every day, he's just like I mean he updates me but I also see it in what he posts too, just like planning stuff with all these different people of not just musicians, but just like all sorts of artists and everything. And he's gotten some like really amazing guests already. So like you've done some amazing work on building this, and I think that's just one of
Thanks,
the
man.
yeah, no, seriously,
I
serious props, and it is
appreciate that.
it
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
it's an honor for you to to like when you're first building it to like think of me as a guest and then have me back and then my homies in the Coop that he was just referring to, that was our former band. So no, it's just it means a lot to be held in for you to think about me and us and to offer it up and everything because we have all yeah like
For me, something, I think this will kind of be the note that I'd love to end on is something that's been very important to me throughout this journey. First of all, I do have to say, First, massive thank you to Steiner for keeping the social media train running. Love you, hun. And thank you to everybody who's been on the show because including you. No, but really, as this project is so much fun for me. I never, it's always great making new connections, interviewing new people. It hasn't gotten old. I don't think it will get old. But what makes it so special is that I have so many amazing people in my life that want to be a part of this with me. And it would not, the accomplishments would not feel the same. It wouldn't feel as complete if I wasn't bringing my friends along with me and having them join me on this journey. So I got to say thank you as well for coming on, for being the first repeat guest. I really wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, you know, like friends.
Yeah, definitely. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, art. What is life?
What even is
what is
life?
this?
I who Lord only at the time of this taping.
Yeah.
All right,
But
that's
no, I mean not the I'm not even trying to necessarily end with like anything profound, but like, day to day, just like uh even if it's something that you love, like music and everything, there's waves of inspiration and everything. And it's like what I think we briefly touched on it at the start of this interview here, but finding new ways to stay inspired on something, especially
mm-hmm. Yes.
when you're at the variables of life and things that every damn day it's problem solving and improvisation and everything. And so then in it's more stressful times, how do you stay motivated and the
And,
trials and tribulations and when stuff gets tough, I mean, you just keep going. So
then that's why we have our friends.
and hopefully
Mm,
too, like and I this is one bit of banter that I always say too, before my song Simplifier, I usually say something like this, is like, you guys know that you can always reinvent yourself at any time in your life, right? So I think that I'd imagine, like, like with like podcasts like this one, just like, it's like hopefully the viewers feel inspired to like, just create something. Like whether it's being presented or performed or whatever, just create.
Absolutely. Like there is no barrier for entry into this industry, into the scene, into music, into art. Like you in there, you can be a part of this. You could be doing what all of our guests on Secondhand Talent do. Like it's a matter of just trying new things, having an open mind, being willing to take suggestions and criticism, being open to taking advice and being willing to ask for it when it's not being given.
Uh,
Those are the stepping stones to doing anything you want. Forget, being in music, but specifically in music though, it's one of those things that you can do it too, no matter what anyone tells you or says otherwise. There is a place for you in the music scene, or none.
yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Definitely.
You
And
just gotta stay flexible and fluid.
definitely. And on that note, I think I think that's all the time we've got.
Have you ever had a dream that you had you that you did you what you wanted that you did, but you believe that you could accomplish anything?
I feel like that rambling needed a little beat, so I
No, that's this no, it's like a viral video of this
oh
like kid who like he's like
I know
sounds
nothing.
it's so
I know
wholesome.
absolutely nothing at the time of this taping.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna send some Steiner some memes and some videos and we'll catch him up on oh, that's another thing I do. Yeah, I'm a meme
meme lord, I believe,
genius.
is what
Yeah, yeah,
meme
exactly.
lord is the technical term.
Meme harvester. So
Harvester. And that's all the time we have for this week's episode. Danny, thanks so much for coming back on. We will see y'all next Wednesday.
thank
I'm
you.
gonna play them out.
Yes, check out Zombie Manana, everybody.
Here we go.
Anyways, here's Wonderwall. Just kidding.